I was 29 when it started, 10 years into my marriage, and 3 years into working at the company where it all unraveled. He was a Tim. Came in every few months. Charismatic. Sharp dresser. Funny in the way you're not supposed to notice when you're married. But I did. I noticed everything. In 2015 I developed a quiet crush. It fizzled fast, because he disappeared just as quickly as he'd arrived. I thought it was harmless. And maybe it was back then. But the summer of 2016 he came back. This time he stayed longer. We got to talking. He found out about the crush. And instead of stepping back he leaned in. "Why don't we act on it?" he said. Just like that.
Nos cham. No hesitaschen.
And I said yes. Looking back, I try to find the moment where I could have stopped it. Where I could have gone home, kissed my husband and told him I was struggling. That I felt invisible. That I missed being wanted. But I didn't do that. Instead, I started a full-blown affair. Night after night, I'd stay at the other man's flat. Lying. Hiding. Inventing friends I wasn't seeing and errands I wasn't running. And my husband, he knew something was wrong. He just didn't know how wrong. If this moment feels familiar, like or share this story. Comment if you've ever stood at the edge of a decision you couldn't take back. Shout out to Mira London 27. Your honesty last week still echoes. Drop your name below for a possible mention in the next story. Subscribe if you want more stories that tell the truth, even when it hurts. My husband never yelled. Not once. He didn't go through my phone or show up at the office. He didn't demand answers or accuse me. He just started shrinking. Quietly. He'd wait up for me some nights. Ask if I'd eaten. Tell me he missed me. That we weren't talking like we used to. I'd brush him off, say I was tired, that work was stressful. Lie after lie. And he'd believe me. Not because he was naive, but because he wanted to. And what did I do in return? I treated him like a burden. I remember one night he made dinner. Candles, music, the whole thing. I barely touched my food. Told him I had to head back to the office. He walked me to the door, kissed me on the forehead and said, "I hope one day you'll come back home." That was 2017. I didn't just ignore him. I humiliated him. In his own home. With my absence, with my silence. He offered therapy. Said we could work through whatever was going on. Begged me to try. But I was too far gone. Too obsessed with the thrill. Too addicted to the attention. I thought I was in love with the other man. Blind to everything else. I lost my job later that year. The affair had bled into everything. My focus, my reputation. I came home with nothing. And still my husband supported me. Still he showed up. Still I stayed out. It wasn't until he asked for a divorce that the weight of it all started pressing down. And even then, I didn't take it seriously. I told myself he was just hurting. That he'd get over it. That love doesn't disappear just like that. But trust does. And I'd been stealing it from him, day by day, until there was nothing left. I ended the affair in early 2018. Not out of guilt. Not because I'd woken up to the damage I'd caused. I ended it because the man I'd risked everything for grew bored. He stopped replying to messages. Started seeing someone else. Told me I was too much drama. And just like that, the fantasy collapsed. I came home for real, expecting to pick up where things had left off. Expecting that my husband, this man I'd broken down piece by piece, would somehow still be standing with open arms. But he wasn't. He was done. There was no yelling. No slammed doors. Just a stillness I hadn't felt before. A kind of cold that doesn't come from anger, but from finality. He looked at me like a stranger. No hatred. No love. Just absence. "I don't trust you," he said. "And I don't love you anymore." Those were the two truths I hadn't prepared for. I tried everything. Therapy, letters, promises. But it was too late. My apologies came after the earthquake. After the damage. After the man I married had quietly packed up his heart and moved on. We're still going through the divorce. Partly because I kept stalling it, part denial, part desperation. I didn't want to face what I'd done. I didn't want to sign the papers that would make my failure real. Because that's what this was. Not just the end of a marriage. But the loss of the one person in this world who truly knew me. Truly loved me and still tried to save me. even when I didn't deserve saving. And I destroyed that, not with one choice, but with 100 small betrayals. And I would give anything to take just one of them back. People think the worst part of infidelity is getting caught. It's not. The worst part is waking up every day with a memory you can't edit, a moment that loops in your head. His face when he realized I'd rather be somewhere else. His voice the last time he said, "I'm trying." That's what I live with now. Not the loss of the affair. That was empty from the start. It's the loss of my husband that stays with me. The loss of the man I met when I was 21, who saw something in me I didn't even see in myself. And now, I don't get updates on his life. I don't get to know who he's seeing or how his day was. I don't get to text him when I hear a song we used to dance to in the kitchen. I erase my seat at his table. And worse, I set it on fire. Friends say I'm being too hard on myself. That people make mistakes. That I should try dating again. But I don't want anyone else. Because the truth is, I didn't cheat because I stopped loving my husband. I cheated because I stopped loving myself, and thought someone else could fill that hole. I was wrong. He was the most beautiful kind of love. Quiet, steady, unconditional. And I mistook it for something boring. Something I could toss aside for a few hours of thrill. I've deleted every photo from that part of my life. Every message, every trace of that man. But it doesn't matter. He's not the ghost that haunts me. My husband is. Not because he's gone, but because he was everything I needed and I couldn't see it until it was far too late. The divorce will be final in a few weeks. I've signed everything now. Quietly. Without protest. It's the last thing I can do to show him respect. Something I should have given him long before betrayal made it clear how absent I'd been. Some days I wake up forgetting we're no longer us. I still instinctively check my phone for his good morning text. Still catch myself buying the coffee he liked. Grief is strange like that. It lives in muscle memory long after the heart understands what's gone. He's not angry. That's the hardest part. He's just done. The way someone finally steps out of the rain after standing in it too long. Waiting for a door that never opens. I won't try to find him again. I won't send another letter. If love really meant anything in me at all, it means letting him go now, fully, completely, without dragging him back into my shame. I know I will carry this regret for the rest of my life. Not as punishment, as fact. Because sometimes we don't get closure. We don't get do-overs. We get consequences. And we get the long road of learning how to live with them. To anyone reading this who's thinking about cheating, or caught in something you know you can't sustain, please don't do it. Don't mistake your partner's steadiness for weakness. Don't trade safety for the illusion of excitement. Don't gamble with the kind of love that stays when the lights are off and the world feels too heavy. Talk to them. Cry if you have to. Be honest. Be messy. But be faithful to the promises you made. I thought I was chasing love. But I ran straight past it and lost the only person who ever truly held me. And now I live with that silence. Not as punishment. As truth. If this story moved you, if you've been on either side of betrayal, please like, share, and leave a comment. Someone out there might need to read this before it's too late. Subscribe for more real, human stories, the kind that don't flinch from the truth. Thank you for listening.